Chapter 360. Can't you coax her? Can't you at least give her a tissue instead of a hug? Doesn't Shui's family love to brag about their high EQ? Why aren't they bragging now? How can they leave a girl to cry? However, Shui's sisters were displeased to see that Shui had been criticized. In the beginning, they had some scruples and were worried about the relationship between Shui and Jiang. Now that they had clarified it, they no longer had any concerns. A couple is a couple, but they are two different people. Smile, smile. The two of them are just seniors and juniors. They can't even be considered friends. What's wrong with leaving Zhong-yi alone? To those who are criticizing scumbags, I hope you all find a warm boyfriend who can coax other girls. Take away our Shui. A gentleman is not equal to a central air conditioner. Thank you. Although Zhong-yi had fans, they were no match for Shui. In just a few minutes, the comments in the live stream returned to peace and tranquility. The reason was none other than that they couldn't win against Shui. In the face of absolute popularity and power, Shui would crush them as soon as she made a move. Shui didn't return to the glass greenhouse and instead went to the vegetable field. The fence had already been fenced and there was only one last step left: painting. Shui held a small brush and lowered his head to slowly brush the white paint. Soon, he heard the familiar sound of footsteps, and the corners of his lips curled up slightly. He had successfully waited for the rabbit to appear. He raised his head, his long and narrow peach blossom-shaped eyes curving upwards. When he smiled, he always looked affectionate. Zhong-yi slowly returned from the orchard with a basket of fruits. The fence was the only way to get there. Sister E, you've picked so many fruits, Shui greeted. Xiang-yi replied with a obviously colder than usual. The netizens were appalled. No way, is untimely wedding going to fail too? I have a bold idea. Is Sister E jealous? Xiang-yi looks so much like Rua when she's sulking. She's just like her brothers when they pretend to be aloof. Xiang-yi was about to leave expressionlessly, but she couldn't help but glance at Shui. The hand injury left behind by the obsessive fan, all is well year-round, had not completely healed. He could only use one hand to paint. Although he painted very evenly and meticulously, not only was the speed slow, but it also looked very laborious. Xiang-yi couldn't take another step. Shui asked gently, "Why don't you go back? It's too sunny here. Be careful not to get sunburned." Seriously, she was too worrisome. Xiang-yi slowly walked to Shui's side and said awkwardly, "I'll do it. You go back." Shui said, "It's okay. Can do it." Xiang-yi said, "No, you can't." Shui couldn't help laughing. "How do you expect me to answer that?" Before Xiang-yi could answer, the netizens in the live stream had already started spamming, "Shui can't do it." Xiang-yi snatched the brush from Shui's hand and stuffed the fruit into his hands. She said fiercely, "Go eat the fruit. Leave this to me." Shui's eyes were full of smiles. "Sister E, I'm really not as useless as you think. You're so long-winded." Xiang-yi pulled a long face. "You're so noisy." Shui blinked and a moment later, he went to the staff member's side. When he returned, he had a floral parasol in his hand. Whoosh! His well-defined fingers opened the umbrella for Xiang-yi. His voice was gentle and affectionate. "You'll be bored if you're alone. I'll be quiet. Don't mind me, okay?" Chapter 361. The umbrella was so small that it couldn't fit two people at all. Shui covered most of the umbrella over Xiang-yi's head, allowing the sunlight to pour on her shoulders. "Xiang-yi, to you." She buried her head in painting, her movements quick and hurried, as if she was trying to hide the restlessness in her heart. Shui didn't say a word and just silently held the umbrella for her. The comments in the live stream had already exploded. "Another day of tears for Sister Yi's beautiful love. Ah, it's not that Shui isn't warm, it's just that you're not the warm one." Holding an umbrella is too sweet, mommy. I'm eating candy. I'm covering my mouth. Don't cry, Zhong Chong couple. You guys can come and cheer for untimely couple. I guarantee sweetness, I guarantee authenticity. Sure Sui has double standards. To Zhong Yi. I think you need to be alone for a while. To Sister Yi, I'll be quiet. Don't despise your brother, okay? The fans of the couple were kowtowing, but the marketing accounts wanted to cry but had no tears. The KPI was gone just like that. The more eye-catching the article was, the more embarrassing it was to be slapped in the face. Sure Sui's daughter exposed. It's all a lie. Without the gimmick of Sure Sui's daughter, just the words Zhong Yi's daughter couldn't attract much traffic at all. For the sake of click-through rates, some people were so evil that they took an extreme route, and that was slandering Zhong Yi. All of a sudden, comments such as Zhong Yi is pregnant out of wedlock, Zhong Yi's blood-sucking daughter, and Zhong Yi and her daughter are trying to ride on Sure Sui's popularity, sprung up like bamboo shoots after a rain. Many netizens felt that they had been cheated by Zhong Yi, and for a while, there was a wave of criticism. She's giving birth to a child before marriage. Disgusting. Their daughter is only 3 years old, and they can't wait to bring her out to make money. Maybe it's all self-directed and self-staged. Negative publicity is still popularity. Of course, there's money to be made if there's popularity. Zhong Yi hasn't made any waves in the past few years, and her works have all been flops. Maybe she's just here to show off her face, and then she's flirting with others. Zhong Yi didn't think that her selfishness would cause such a huge backlash. Zhong Yi brushed the fence as fast as she could. With white railings and green vegetable fields, it looked quite small and fresh. The girl picked a few green and red chili peppers. She turned around and looked at Sure Sui, who was still holding the umbrella, and said awkwardly, "Let's go back." Sure Sui went to return the umbrella. Zhong Yi was about to pick up the fruit basket on the ground, but Sure Sui picked it up before her. She chuckled and said, "My brother can still carry it." Zhong Yi thought about it. Since it wasn't very heavy, she didn't argue with him. After all, Sure Sui was a fragile and sensitive man. Sure Sui? It wouldn't be good to hurt his pride. The two of them walked side by side on the way back. Zhong Yi stood on his left side and found that the exposed fair skin of his collarbone had turned red from the sun's rays. She felt really strange. She didn't know why she was angry at Sure Sui, and she didn't know why she felt sorry for him. She was conflicted and confused. Sure Sui noticed the confused expression on the girl's face and said in a low voice, "Sister Yi." Zhong Yi suddenly stopped in her tracks. As if she was suddenly enlightened, she suddenly looked at Sure Sui, only to meet his abyss-like dark eyes. Zhong Yi thought of a possibility. She probably seemed to. She wasn't a fan of Sure Sui's mother, but a fan of Sure Sui's girlfriend. She had fallen in love with Sure Sui. Chapter 362. Whoosh. It was as if the thousands upon thousands of mountains shrouded in dense fog had dispersed, and something had become clear and profound. Zhong Yi was shocked. She actually liked Sure Sui. What if Sure Sui finds out? The filming of Two Under One Roof would take about 2 months, and there was still about half of the time left. If Sure Sui found out about her thoughts, then wouldn't it be very awkward for her to get along with Sure Sui for the next month? "Sister Yi, are you okay?" The man's low magnetic voice sounded in her ear. Zhong Yi pretended to be calm and asked, "Ahem, what do Senior Zhong and Zhongjiang like to eat?" In a split second, Zhong Yi had already thought of a countermeasure. Act as him. In a certain world that she had transmigrated to, she had also played many supporting roles in order to help the protagonist win the Best Actress award. She felt that she wasn't particularly bad. Oh, Sure Sui shouldn't be able to find out. Little did she know that Sure Sui had noticed her abnormality almost immediately. He was more sensitive to people's emotions than ordinary people. The man raised his long eyebrows and said, "I'm not sure." He had worked with Zhong Yi before, but he didn't know her tastes at all. Or rather, he didn't care at all. Xiangyi pretended to be calm and said, "Oh, I see. I'll ask them later then." "Sister Yi, are you nervous?" Almost as soon as Shi Sui finished speaking, Xiangyi exclaimed like a cat with its hair standing on end. "No." "Then you." Shi Sui sized her up with a half-smile and his eyes gradually widened. "Why are you walking with your hands and feet in the same direction?" Xiangyi was speechless. She said stubbornly, "Maybe you saw wrongly." However, this scene was honestly recorded by the camera. The fans expressed that they found it adorable. Why is Sister E in a daze? She looks so cute when she walks with her hands and feet in the same direction. Xiangyi really looked like a little rabbit when she was frightened just now, the white and soft kind. F***ck, I'm going to become a fan of the couple. E is so cute. No man is worthy of her. Ahem, me too. I just want to see a beautiful missy surrounded by a bunch of puppies. Xiangyi used the fruit she picked, yogurt and nuts to make a fruit scoop. After busying himself for half a day, he finally got such a cold and sweet bite. It was simply too satisfying. Xiangyi did not add any ice cubes for Zhangzhang's portion. Little Lolita took a bite and her little butt fluttered in happiness. Good, good. What are you supposed to say when someone gives you food? Zhangzhang blinked and asked in a soft and tender voice. Is there more? Zhongyi was confused. The adults in the room were all amused by the children's words. Zhongyi rubbed her forehead helplessly. At this moment, Li Jianyu took the microphone and began to advertise. Good news, good news. Sister E and Shi Sui's double cover magazine is about to be released. 9.90 yuan. You won't be at a disadvantage if you buy it. Please buy it on the official Weibo account of My Style. Also, please pay me the advertising fee. Li Jianyu hereby kneels down and thanks the sponsor. The netizens watching the live stream were appalled. Son, you're so good at advertising. Ha 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 ha. Ha. It's finally going to be released. Bye. I must buy it. The photo of Shi Sui holding onto Sister Yi's leg and refusing to kiss her. I bet that photo must be the cover. Damn it. Everyone go to Weibo. My Style is up to something. They've actually separated the male and female versions into AB and AB versions. The two covers are different. Chapter 363. Everyone flocked to Weibo, only to discover that 2 minutes ago, the official account of My Style had updated its status. My Style V. Hashtag Shi Sui and Xiangyi Jun cover hashtag I've waited for thousands of years just to meet you at this moment. Mass is not proportional to volume. She attracts me with a mass that far exceeds that of the earth. I want to fall into hell with her. However, at the end of the endless abyss, I see a star. Shi Sui v Xiangyi v. The men's edition A is trapped, the women's edition B is sinking, and the physical edition is shackled by Morning Star. There were also 3 pre-sale links at the end of the Weibo post, 2 for electronic issues and 1 for physical issues, which would go on sale at 12 o'clock sharp. MS Magazine usually sold 1 electronic issue and 1 physical issue, but this was the first time there were separate editions for men and women. Many netizens immediately began cursing. Are they crazy about money? I'm going to vomit. What kind of unscrupulous magazine company is this? They brag about the fan economy every day. Do they really take their fans for fools? We're not leaks. However, someone sensed something unusual. Are the 3 versions of the photo the same? If they are, it doesn't make sense for them to sell the same photos 3 times, does it? This question was quickly answered by the official Weibo account. Dear, all 3 versions of the photo are different. And they all have their own focus. Cute. In an instant, those who knew what was going on immediately understood. In addition to the cover of the magazine, the 2 of them also had an interview, and there were at least several photos in the inside pages. For the male version, there should be more photos of Shi Sui. For the female version, there should be more photos of Xiangyi. As for the physical issue, there should be more photos of the 2 of them. In this case, fans could purchase according to their needs. In a sense, it could also be said to be a personalized service. However, the CP fans wailed. What should I do? I want all 3 versions. Only children make choices. Adults choose to buy all of them. The buyers are not as good as the sellers. Unscrupulous merchants. I'll buy it, okay. Collecting and hoarding are human instincts, so I'm just following my instincts and not spending money recklessly. There were also many discussion posts on the well-known gossip forum, Melon, mainly about which version would sell the most. A Shui sister showed up and posted a very professional analysis post. Title: Prediction: Shui version A will sell first, not me eating a keyboard live. Text: Combining the data before the age of 10, there is no doubt that he is the absolute ceiling for male artistes. The sales volume of the previous few magazine covers has set records, not to mention the ability to increase luxury goods. He is the kind that even the little fresh meats can't beat. The drawings and tables are as follows. As for the other vase fairy, she had only released 1 single since her debut, and her electronic sales were a joke. Her endorsements were all right, but her sales were mediocre. On the other hand, she inexplicably became popular with dishwashers and electric barbecue plates. She could be considered to have some ability to sell goods. However, a C-lister was a C-lister. How could the light of a firefly compete with the brilliance of the bright moon? Of the 3 versions, Shui version A is the best seller, the double cover version is the second best seller, and the Vase Fairy version B is the 3rd best seller. By the way, according to Hermès's usual practice, the first batch of links will probably be about 100,000 copies. I predict that the Shui version A will definitely sell out in seconds. As for the double cover version and the Vase Fairy version B, I suggest the Vase Fairy's fans hurry up and raise fund. The post soon reached the top of the trending section, and there were more than 1,000 replies. At this moment it was 12 o'clock. Chapter 364. In the entertainment industry, the sales volume of a magazine was, in a sense, equivalent to the commercial value of a celebrity. The so-called instant sales meant that the sales volume was within a minute or a few minutes. The higher the sales volume, the greater the purchasing power of the fans, and the greater the celebrity's ability to sell goods. Shui's fans rubbed their hands in glee and clicked on the purchase button as soon as the electronic magazine was put on the shelves. The Shui sister who posted the post bought Shui edition A and refreshed the page to find that there were no more copies in stock. She clicked on the link to the physical magazine, only to find that there were not many copies in stock. She then clicked on Xiangyi edition B and found that there were still more than 90,000 copies in stock. The girl in front of the screen laughed out loud and immediately took a screenshot and edited it into the main text of the post. Main text: Shui edition A has been sold out. Looking at my purchase record, it should have been achieved in about 2 minutes. Also, thank you to the Vase Fairy for contributing to our joke of the year. Her commercial value is about 0. I suspect that her fans are fake fans. However, she was confused by the netizens' replies. Ha ha ha, as long as you're happy. Are you there? Is there something wrong with your eyesight? Another one has gone crazy. Take her away, she's hopeless. She was puzzled until she refreshed the forum and found a post titled, Have a taste of the strongest fan club in history. Rewind time to a few minutes ago. On Weibo, Yan Nai and his father, Yan Zhenhua, reposted the Weibo post of MS Magazine. Yan Zhenhua. Ha ha ha, little girl, have you grown up? I'm craving it. I'll buy a few copies as payment for my food expenses. Yan Nai. Sister, I'll give you all my New Year's money to support you. Clench your fists. Then the boys of C7 followed suit. Jiang Chen. Sister, you're so beautiful. I love edition B. Shenxiai. Sister's magazine, I have to buy it. Soon Yin Zhengxue and her husband also reposted the post. And Zhengxue. Wow, our little cutie looks so good in this photo. I'm going to buy it for my collection. Shengguang. My wife is right. Then. It was Xiangyi's family group. Little Uncle Xiang Feng yelled in the family group chat and forwarded the post. Badeo President V. Little Xiangyi, I'll cover your cover today. In the training room, Xiang Yu logged onto Weibo in the midst of his busy schedule. Logic Smog V. Is there a PS expert? Later, please help me Photoshop a single photo of my sister. Price is negotiable. Broad. Xiang Qi set an alarm and got up in the middle of the night. Hades V. My sister is the cutest in the world. I won't accept any rebuttal. At the Research Institute, Xiangli was in the middle of writing the latest research report when he suddenly stopped and said gently, Sorry, give me a minute. I have to support my sister. Help! What was that? Under the confused gazes of a group of scientists from various fields, Xiangli calmly took out his phone and reposted the Weibo post. Xiangli V. Cheering for little sister. Come on, little sister. The law firm. Sangchen sorted out the documents for the court session in the afternoon and looked at the two young girls opposite him. Miss Chow, Miss Su, I have something important to do before lunch. Guardian and her good friend were nervous and at a loss. They thought he was going to do something big, but the next second, he clicked on the Weibo icon and reposted the post seriously. His expression was cold and his words were concise. Tutu Brother V. Buy it. Guardian and Guardian. This is the big thing you were talking about. Chapter 365. These Weibo posts were screenshotted and posted. It was the post. Let's see what it means to be the strongest support group in history. The netizens were stunned to see the famous directors of the entertainment industry, top celebrities, young hunks, respected veteran actors, gaming gurus, famous designers, medical doctors, and top lawyers supporting Xiangyi. What the F***CK? What kind of luxurious lineup is this? This is probably Mary Sue's favorite heroine in novels. I just saw that the official Weibo accounts of the Chinese Folk Music Association and the Traditional Chinese Medicine Association have also reposted it. There was no need to mention how envious the other fans were. This kind of support was really not something that everyone could get. Shi Sui's sister, who had posted just now, gritted her teeth in front of the screen. She was a fan of Shi Sui, but she was also an anti-fan of Xiangyi. She was extremely upset about the two of them being a couple, so she couldn't stand Xiangyi at all. She couldn't help but mock and ridicule under the post. So what if there are so many people supporting her? Every one of them was just talking. Why don't they buy it? Our Shi Sui sold it in 2 minutes. What about her? Can she sell it out in 200 years? Smiley face. As soon as she posted it, she was rebuked. The data hasn't been tabulated yet. I clicked on it a minute ago, but I didn't manage to buy it. However, the inventory page is malfunctioning, and it keeps showing more than 90,000 copies. I keep bragging. Can the vase fairy be that impressive? Shi Sui's version A sold out in 2 minutes, but she can sell out her version B in 1 minute? Isn't she afraid that others will laugh at her? She snorted and replied sarcastically, Her? She can sell it in seconds. Then I'll go to heaven. As soon as she replied, a notification popped up on Weibo, showing that MS had posted a new post. She clicked on it and was instantly dumbfounded. Someone had indeed sold it in seconds, but it wasn't Shi Sui. My Style V. Hashtag Shi Sui Xiangyi June cover. Hashtag congratulations at Shi Sui's edition of the e-magazine was completed in 2 minutes and 36 seconds, the achievement of selling 100,000 copies. Congratulations to at Xiangyi V for selling 100,000 copies of the B edition e-magazine in 59 seconds. It set a new record in the history of My Style. At the same time, congratulations to the two of them for the achievement of selling 100,000 copies in 5 minutes and 1 second for the physical issue of Confined to the Morning Star. The entire circle was in an uproar. Female artist, 59 seconds, 100,000 copies. Good heavens, even if there was support, this number was still shocking. When Xiangyi's fans saw this Weibo post, they all felt proud. Sister E is so outstanding. Roaring at the top of his lungs. Low-key. Our EZ isn't that impressive, Awesome. Felt so good. After being slandered for so long, he could finally hold his head high. That's how impressive our E is. Bullshit. Someone even tagged Shirsue's sister. Ha ha ha, does your face hurt? You there? Is the keyboard ready? If not, I'll send you one. I heard that you're going to heaven. I've prepared the sunflower seeds and a small stool. When are you going to perform? That person didn't reply for a long time. After a while, everyone realized that she had actually deleted her account. She can't afford to play, can she? Some were happy while others were worried. Untimely Weibo was a hot topic. Who still remembers that it's a double cover this time? Sob, 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 sob. Are we too lousy? The sales are actually at the bottom. No, sisters. It's been so long, but Shui still hasn't won Sister Yi's heart. He's useless. Oh no, I actually think that makes sense. Chapter 366. In the trending topics, the netizens vividly interpreted the hashtag when I'm ruthless, even the couple I'm dating will be hateful hashtag. Hence, a topic quietly climbed to the bottom of the trending topics on Weibo. When Si Chuanbai saw the hashtag Shiringdi is useless hashtag, his expression was exactly the same as the old man on the subway. In the past, he had predicted that Shui would be on the trending topics and had prepared the corresponding public relations. Recently, the trending topics were getting more and more confusing. Shiringdi is useless. What kind of public relations is this? If it was public relations, others would say, look at Shui and his team, they're guilty. If it wasn't public relations, others would say, Tiskaze, I can't tell that he's so weak at such a young age. The top manager sighed heavily as he looked at his phone. It's too difficult for me. Similarly, Xiangyi's manager, Nan, was in a difficult situation. He had been worried sick that he wouldn't be able to sell his obedient version B. Until he saw the Weibo post about the sales. 59 seconds. 100,000 copies. Did he see wrongly? Before Nan could react, his phone was bombarded with calls from various media outlets and business partners. To put it simply, Xiangyi was on fire. However, the problems that followed were also obvious. An artist didn't just need a manager, they needed a team. Now, although Xiangyi had become the boss of Tomato Entertainment in name, she didn't have a team. With so many things piling up, Nan felt powerless. It was too difficult. I don't deserve it. He even had a feeling of wanting to shrink back. Should I resign? Just as this thought flashed through his mind, his phone rang. When he saw the caller ID, he rubbed his eyes hard before answering the call. Mr. C. Are you looking for me? Si Chuanbai's serious and deep voice came through the receiver. From today onwards, my team and I will be in charge of handling Miss Xiangyi's management business. Really? That's great. In that case, Xiangyi would have the most professional management team. However, his happiness only lasted for 3 seconds before Nan realized something. He drooped his head and asked dejectedly, So am I going to lose my job? Si Chuanbai, you're thinking too much. Nan sobbed. You don't have to comfort me. Understand. I'll pack my luggage now and go to Little Rabbit Farm to raise piglets. I heard that they use science to raise pigs and turn knowledge into reality. In any case, I went to university before. Woo, I should be able to apply, right? Si Chuanbai rubbed his eyebrows. Why was little rainbow? What do you mean by raising piglets? I think you want to eat piglets. Sorry, I didn't express myself clearly. My team and I will assist you. Knowing that he would not face the crisis of unemployment, Nan was rejuvenated. He suddenly thought, then what about Shui? Si Chuanbai said coldly, let him fend for himself. I am now part of Miss Xiangyi's family. Ah? In the kitchen Xiangyi and Shui were busy. Li Jianyu announced Shui's sales volume first. Shui bowed to the camera and said, "Thank you for your support, everyone." A's was made comments. First bow. When it was Xiangyi's turn, Xiangyi stopped washing the vegetables and expressed her gratitude to her fans. More and more people joined in. Second bow. Coincidentally, when Xiangyi turned around, she bumped into Shui. He frowned and looked down at her. One person's idiocy is called idiocy, while a group's idiocy is called happiness. Husband and wife bowed to each other. Ceremony complete. Chapter 367. Send him to the bridal chamber and turn off the lights. Wait a minute, isn't Shui impotent? Why don't we crowdfund and send him some pills to nourish his body? I'm going to laugh myself to death in the comment section sooner or later. There was a sea of joy in the comments section, but the few popular starlets in the entertainment industry were extremely displeased. Some of the fashion and endorsement opportunities that had originally approached them had all gone to Xiangyi. That was how realistic the entertainment industry was. When something was going down, the business world wouldn't even take a second look. When it was popular, the business world would willingly be a spare tire. The starlets would usually fight openly and covertly, but today they were united against a common enemy and quickly formed a group. The Plastic Sisters flattered each other for a while, and then very tacitly joined forces to defame Xiangyi. Soon, a lot of negative news about Xiangyi appeared on the internet. What kind of sales legend is this? It's all fake. After removing the fake news, it's already good enough for someone to sell 1,000 magazines. Well, a certain Xiang actress has a bunch of rich brothers. Of course she can buy as many magazines as she wants. Commercial value? Sorry, the vase fairy really doesn't have any. It's all fake prosperity. Would there really be an idiot who would believe that she has fans? She might be fine if one person scolded her, but if a group of people scolded her, there must be something wrong with her. Otherwise, why would they scold her instead of others? The companies behind the starlets all had a lot of marketing accounts, which undoubtedly came in handy at times like this. They were ridiculing Xiangyi from all angles, as if the 100,000 copies sold by her brothers were all fake figures. Commercial value was an important standard in the business world to measure artists. Seeing so much negative public opinion on the internet, some brands couldn't help but back out. Looking for Xiangyi might not be a good choice. She was popular, but she was a little too black-red. After all, no one wanted to find a spokesperson who would attract criticism. Besides, her figures were too exaggerated. In the entertainment industry, male artists had always been the ones who outsold female artists. Since when had female artists ever outsold male artists? At the critical moment, an overseas vlogger posted on Weibo, which attracted the attention of netizens. Nowadays there were many overseas artists, internet celebrities, vloggers and so on Weibo. Some of them managed their accounts well and had a considerable number of fans. It just so happened that the vlogger who posted on Weibo would usually share her outfits, skincare and so on. She had more than 2 million fans. Luna V. Hey, I want to ask, can anyone help me buy this? My friends like her very much. There was a picture. It was a screenshot of My Style's Xiangyi Edition B. The netizens. Is Xiangyi S. Do overseas vloggers S. Someone raised a question in Luna's native language. She no. S fans post 1. She, T her videos, S her, S, tease, testist, I, S2, S. Not only is she the ideal type for men, but she is also the ideal type for women. S for, oh my god, someone bought it for me. I'm so happy. Chapter 368. The netizens were dumbfounded. Ah, is this real? Usually, we're the ones who get people to buy overseas skincare products and cosmetics. Now, foreigners are getting people to buy our female artists' magazine covers. At first, some people thought that it was just a publicity stunt. However, some overseas students posted screenshots of overseas magazines, which made people realize how terrifying Xiangyi's popularity was overseas. I'm shocked. So the vase fairy is not only popular, but she's also really popular overseas. There are 200,000 links to each of the 3 editions. Sister Yi's edition B has been sold out. It's really sold out in seconds. I went to several well-known overseas video websites and found that the number of views on Xiangyi's cooking videos is second only to the videos of our national treasure Panda acting cute. The popular actresses who had teamed up to slander Xiangyi were also confused. How did this happen? Didn't Xiangyi just star in a variety show? How did she become so popular overseas? Those brands who had backed out just now were dying of regret. They hurriedly tried to contact Xiangyi again, only to find that she already had a new management team, gold medal manager Si Chuanbai and his team. The brands were speechless. Isn't he Shi Yingdi's exclusive manager? Why is he in charge of Xiangyi's management business? Si Chuanbai was much colder than Nan. He quickly filtered through and rejected those that were not suitable for him. Those brands beat their chests and stomped their feet, hating themselves for being a step too late and missing out on such a huge business opportunity. The most vicious slap in the face came from a Weibo post that Shi Sui liked. Badeo President V. Woo, what lousy magazine is this? It's limited to 1 copy per account. I'm rich. Let me buy it. Do you hear me? Xiang Feng's incompetent and furious post attracted a lot of laughter from the netizens. After Shi Sui liked the post, everyone suddenly understood the main point. There's a limited purchase. And it's limited to 1 copy. A limited purchase meant that no one could buy hundreds or thousands of copies. The rumor of Xiangyi's brothers spending money to boost sales was dispelled. The netizens were in a daze, still in disbelief. Xiangyi, a female artist, had single-handedly surpassed Shi Sui's magazine sales. She had really recorded a variety show. If there were any good works in the future, he didn't dare to think about it. He really didn't dare to think about it. Untimely super topic. Shi Sui, a man who is always on the front line to protect his wife. My first reaction is that I've eaten candy. My second reaction is that Shi Sui likes her. Sob me too. I feel like my daughter hasn't been enlightened yet. I'm looking forward to her growing up, but I don't want her to grow up at the same time. Her mother fans are so worried. The manner. When lunch was served, Zhang stared blankly at the sumptuous lunch. Did elder sister do all this? Amazing. Zhang praised generously. Zhang, call me auntie, said Zhongyi. Zhang shook her head and said, No, it's sister. The beautiful ones are all big sisters. Xiangyi had always been very tolerant towards her cubs. She pushed a cup of freshly squeezed strawberry milk over, her eyes gentle and calm. Zhang took a sip and squinted her eyes blissfully. After a few seconds she sighed like an adult and said, When will I grow up? Madame Xiang asked. Zhang, what do you want to be when you grow up? Zhang exclaimed, I want to marry Sister Yi. Everyone at the table burst into laughter. Shi Sui was the only one who raised his eyebrows. Children are such creatures. They're really annoying. Chapter 369. The netizens watching the live stream were appalled. It's time for the mukbang live stream. Reporting the takeout has been ordered and the milk tea is ready. Get ready to eat. Over. Shi Sui's eyebrows are so soulful. He's not going to be jealous of children, is he? Zhongyi was shocked by the delicious food on the table. Did you make all these? Xiangyi didn't take the credit. Shi Sui and I made them together. Shi Sui said, I'm just an assistant. A look of surprise flashed past Zhongyi's eyes. As far as she knew, Shi Sui was the type of person who would rather not eat than cook. Yet she's willing to cook? Madame Xiang praised. Our dear Tutu's culinary skills are really getting better and better, Xiangyin humphed and said. That's all. Madam Xiang. Haha, if you didn't eat the most, I would have believed your nonsense. As for Xiao Naofu and little Shiji, they also had their own lunches. Little Shiji, who had only eaten dog food before, barked and buried its face into the bowl of food for the first time. Xiao Naofu, on the other hand, turned into a little kitten and ignored its own food to squeeze into little Shiji's bowl. Little Shiji looked at it in bewilderment. Woof! Xiao Naofu barked at it fiercely. Woof! I'm going to eat your food, you mutt. Little Shiji hesitated for a few seconds and quietly retreated. It even pushed its bowl towards Xiao Naofu, seemingly hinting for it to eat more. Xiao Naofu initially thought that little Shiji was trying to lure it away from its territory so that it could steal its luxurious seafood rice. To its surprise, little Shiji lay on the ground obediently and watched it eat innocently with watery black eyes. It seemed that it was planning to wait for Xiao Naofu to have its fill before starting. Xiao Naofu suddenly felt that the rice in its bowl was no longer fragrant. What are you looking at? Xiao Naofu was immature and was equivalent to a human child. It bullied little Shiji because it felt that little Shiji had stolen Xiangyi's love. If little Shiji was a bully, it would definitely fight little Shiji to the death. However, little Shiji wasn't. Xiao Naofu felt like it had punched cotton. It stared at little Shiji for a few seconds before reluctantly pushing the bowl back. It even picked up a prawn from its bowl and placed it in little Shiji's bowl. Meow. Humph, this who only gave you a prawn because you're too thin and weak. In the next second, little Shiji pressed it onto the ground and began licking Xiao Naofu's head happily. Meow meow meow. Xiao Naofu. Ah, your mother, don't come over. Stupid woman, save me. Save me. As an internet celebrity cat, Xiao Naofu had its own cameraman and a separate live broadcast room. The netizens inside were all cute and doting, and the style was very harmonious. Xiao Naofu is so pretentious. Our Xiao Naofu has grown up, I'm glad. Little Shiji is so domineering. I'm done. Cat videos. So embarrassing, I'm too embarrassed to watch. Xiao Naofu struggled to break free from little Shiji's shackles and jumped into Xiangyi's arms, feeling extremely aggrieved. Meow. Woo-woo, that annoying mutt licked my fur until it was wet. Xiangyi put down her chopsticks and coaxed it gently. When Xiangyin saw this scene, he frowned and said with a menacing expression, "Don't worry. Just eat, why are you hugging it?" Xiao Naofu was so frightened that it shrank into Xiangyi's arms. Some netizens commented, I feel like old Mr. Xiang doesn't hate cats but Xiangyi." Chapter 370. This comment gained the approval of many people. Yeah, cats are so adorable. Would anyone hate cats? To be honest, old Mr. Xiang has 4 grandsons. Why would he fancy one granddaughter? In ancient times, Xiangyi wouldn't even be listed in the genealogy. Haha, did you guys just realize? I could tell long ago that Xiangyi's grandfather has been pulling a long face towards the vase fairy. He obviously doesn't like her. As soon as those comments were posted, they were rebutted by Xiangyi's fans. TSK, you guys found out again. What's wrong with the person who mentioned the genealogy? Times have changed. You've forgotten about it early in the morning. It's just a sentence, yet you're imagining so much. Some people really have nothing better to do. It's not like it's written all over your face. There was a strong smell of gunpowder in the comments. Nowadays, the livestream industry was very developed, and the stress that had nowhere to be released in reality was easily vented on the internet. In reality, the mistakes of others could still be tolerated. However, in the online world, as long as there was a slight flaw, they would deal a heavy blow. Xiangyi coaxed Xiao Naofu for a while before placing it on the ground. Xiangyin immediately said, "Go wash your hands. Use disinfectant and hand sanitizer. Wash your palms as well as the back of your hands. Pets had germs on them and it would be bad if they got infected." His granddaughter's health was the most important thing in the world. When everyone heard his words, they felt that Xiangyin was being too strict. Got it, Grandpa. Xiangyi obediently went to wash her hands. After washing up, she picked up her chopsticks and ate 2 mouthfuls of food. Xiang Yin began to nitpick again. Tie your hair up. It's covering your eyes. Xiangyi had her hair tied up in a bun, but she left her fringe slightly long because she hadn't cut it in a while. It can't be tied up. She gestured to the length and suddenly found a small hair clip to clip her fringe up, revealing her fair and smooth head. There was a trace of satisfaction in Xiang Yin's eyes. Yes, my granddaughter looks the best when her hair is tied up. In the live stream, Xiang Yin's grandfather is so fierce. I'm shivering in front of the screen. It's true that he hates her. Otherwise he wouldn't be so picky. Why does it feel so real? My mom also likes to let me comb my hair up to reveal my forehead. However, even though some people were cursing, they were watching with more enthusiasm than anyone else. After the meal, Zhong Yi and Zhang Jiang had the habit of taking an afternoon nap, but when Zhang Jiang heard that Xiang Yin was going to make malt candy, she skipped her afternoon nap and instead scurried over to Xiang Yin's side to watch him. Little Rabbit Farm had sent some half-finished products over. The old man sat in the pavilion, leisurely boiling maltose in a small pot. A gentle breeze blew past, and the flowers by the pavilion fell. The green hills in the distance were faintly discernible. In the courtyard, a few ducks passed by the pond. The scene was beautiful and poetic. There were fewer bullet screen comments in the live broadcast room. Everyone was enjoying the tranquility and warmth of the moment. The old master's movements were skillful, and it was obvious that he had done this many times in the past. He used a slender piece of wood chopped from bamboo to boil a round maltose candy. It looked like a lollipop and handed it to Zhang Jiang. Baby, take it. Thank you, Grandpa. Zhang Jiang hugged the maltose candy happily and licked it. It was sweet and warm. She said incoherently. Yummy. When the netizens saw this scene, they were a little envious. Xiang Yin is so nice, some haters sneered. Even his biological granddaughter doesn't receive such treatment. Seems like someone is really annoying. However, Xiang Yin hummed a tune and took out a new piece of wood. He spun it, and the maltose candy in his hand grew larger and larger. The netizens began to feel that something was amiss. Chapter 371. The bright, light yellow maltose candy was emitting steam. Gradually, the candy ball in Xiang Yin's hand became several times larger than the one he gave to Zhang Jiang just now. Xiang Yin picked it up and looked at it, but he still felt that it wasn't enough. Hence, he put it in the pot and spun it a few more times. This is for Zhang Jiang, right? Zhang Jiang is so cute, it's normal for her to be popular with elders. As soon as the pop-up comments appeared, Xiang Yin held the maltose candy and yelled, "Old woman, have some candy." Madame Xiang and Xiangyi were drinking flower tea in front of the French window. Hearing his words, they smirked and said, "This old man's voice is too loud." The netizens were dumbfounded. They were caught off guard by their public display of affection. Madame Xiang tucked her hair behind her ears and walked towards Xiang Yin. After tasting it, she said, "It tastes all right, but it's old and sticky." Xiang Yin pretended to be angry and barked, "Nonsense! You're not old at all." Zhang Jiang chimed in, "Yes, Grandma is not old at all." All women like to hear such things, and Madame Xiang was no exception. She was all smiles. After eating half of it, she got sick of it and stuffed it into Xiang Yin's hands. Xiang Yin had been with her for many years and they could read each other's minds. Hence, he calmly ate the rest. The pop-up comments in the live stream changed abruptly. "Oh my God, Grandpa and Grandma are so sweet. You can only be the king of dogs if you eat the best of the best. Damn it, I'm so jealous." Everyone was moved by the sweetness of Xiang Yin's and Grandma's love, and some even commented that Xiangyi was too miserable. At first glance, that was indeed the case. Zhang Jiang and Xiang Yin both had candy, but she was still drinking flower tea all by herself. Without comparison, there would be no harm. Her fans felt a little sorry for her, but the haters were unscrupulous as they mocked her. Some people are just born to be detestable. I can't help it. If I were Seong-in, I wouldn't like her either. She's too pretentious. Up to now, the vase fairy has a perfect persona in Two Under One Roof. It would be strange if she wasn't acting. Just as the haters were criticizing Seong-i, someone discovered that Seong-in was still silently brewing maltose candy. This time the candy balls were even bigger. Not only was it big, but he also continuously molded it into shape. Not long after, a round, bunny-shaped maltose candy appeared in his palm. The old man looked at it and felt that it was not enough, so he continued to carve it carefully with a bamboo stick. After a long while, the old man was finally satisfied. The camera gave a close-up. It was a lifelike little rabbit, cute and delicate. Rabbit, rabbit. It can't be that coincidental. The next moment, the old man's loud and clear voice resounded in the courtyard. Good, rabbit, rabbit. The netizens were speechless. Earphone fans were almost deafened. Grandpa, your voice almost sent me away. Did I hear that right? The old master called her little bunny. Under everyone's incredulous eyes, Seong-i walked briskly into the pavilion. Grandpa, Seong-i said softly, is this for me? The old man had a sullen expression on his face, as if he wasn't the one who had called her good tutu just now. He handed the tutu maltose candy to Seong-i and said coldly, eat this. Seong-i grinned widely, revealing her dimples. Grandpa, you're so nice, you're the best grandpa in the world. Sweet words. The old man sneered in disdain, but the corners of his mouth curled up uncontrollably. Is it enough? If it's not enough, there's more. I'll make you a super-sized one. The netizens thought. You call this annoying? He's obviously doting on her. Chapter 372. Seong-yi's voice was gentle as she sat on the stool next to Jung-jung and ate her candy obediently. It's enough. The two of them were eating candy at the same frequency and were so adorable that his heart was about to melt. The smile on Seong-yin's face deepened. Madame Seong teased. Hey, didn't someone say that he hasn't forgiven Tutu yet? Seong-yin's expression changed immediately and he stopped smiling. He said coldly and sternly, Humph, don't think that I've forgiven her. Now I've forgiven her at most. At most 2%. Madame Seong said, last time it was 1% and this time it's only 2%. Is a meal worth 1%? Then wouldn't my dear Tutu have to cook 98 meals for you? Old man, you're just trying to cheat her out of her food. The netizens in the live stream were amused by old Mrs. Seong's words. Ha 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 ha, old Mrs. Seong is so sarcastic. Why did you say that you've forgiven her? What did Seong-i do? I suddenly feel that Seong-in is the arrogant one. Compared to Sister Yi's brothers, he's so weak. In the apartment, Chin Wan-yen, who had recently suspended her work, was watching Two Under One Roof, as if she had been possessed. As long as Seong-i appeared on screen, she would crazily post negative comments, bicker, nitpick, and make sarcastic remarks. Why is Seong-i doing so well and becoming more and more popular? Didn't I end up having to suspend my work and suffer a drop in popularity because of a slip of my hand? Hearing Seong-in mention the word forgiven, she sneered and opened the private chat box of a certain marketing account. In the court in Nanjing. Today's court hearing was being live-streamed on the court hearing website. Xiao Wan, who was also known as Guardian of the Best Seong-i in the World on Weibo, was seated in the gallery, so nervous that her palms were sweating. The judge announced that the court was in session and the live stream began. In an instant, many people swarmed into the live stream. When they saw Sang-Chen, who was sitting at the plaintiff's defense lawyer's seat, the comment section suddenly became lively. Ah, Seong-yin's suit is so classy. This is lawyer Seong's first court appearance in years, right? It's my first time watching a live trial. I'm a little nervous for some reason. The case was quickly sorted out. Xiao Wan's good friend, Xiao Su, got first place in the written interview when she applied for a job. However, the company hired a boy who ranked lower than her because this position was more suitable for boys. The lawyer hired by the defendant's company was also very good. The first thing he did was to change the concept of the case. His style of defense was very eloquent and infectious. He avoided the important points and dwelled on the trivial. He did not mention the gender issue at all. In conclusion, the defendant refused to admit the plaintiff not because of the plaintiff's gender, but because the plaintiff's overall ability was insufficient. Xiao Su's face was pale. The failure of the interview was a huge blow to her. Now that she was going to suffer a second blow, she felt a little uncomfortable physically and mentally. Taking advantage of her poor state, the company's representative attacked her without restraint. We think that Miss Su has a social disorder. As we all know, a serious social disorder is a psychological illness. Our position is really not suitable for her. In the live stream, some people felt that what they said made sense. That's right. How could they hire a ticking time bomb into the company? Getting first place in the written interview doesn't mean anything. Maybe she has high scores but low abilities. To be honest, this position is indeed not suitable for a girl. Given her age, she's going to get married and have children in 2 years. Who's going to bear the company's losses? Chapter 373. While the group of people were having a heated discussion, Sangchen raised his eyebrows slightly in reality. Are you done? The man's voice was thin, cold and low, and it exuded a powerful aura. The two people in the dock subconsciously shut up. By the time they came back to their senses, they realized that they had somehow listened to Sangchen's words. Sangchen got up and retorted without even looking at the document. Does the first place in the written test mean that you're not competent enough? In that case, I'm afraid I have to question the professional competence of your company's interviewers. As for mental illness, that's a personal attack. Who says that everyone has to be extroverted? It's precisely because of introverted people that there's diversity. No matter what personality they have, they deserve to be respected. If the person who came in first place in the written test was a man, would you still hire a woman who ranked lower? The answer is obviously no. Not only are you violating the law, you're also morally laughable. After a pause, he sneered. The people in the live stream were dumbfounded, and it took a while for the pop-up comments to come back. Damn, Sangchen is so sharp-tongued. If you're not good at literature, you can think of one sentence. Lawyer Xiang is awesome. Well said. He's reasonable and polite. It's a textbook defense. Xiao Wan could no longer hear what the judge said to the defendant's lawyer. The only thing she could see was the tall and imposing figure. He's so suave. Sangchen's style of defense was just like his personality. He hit the nail on the head and was cold and sharp. After a few rounds, he had already gained the upper hand. Xiao Su, who was initially hanging her head low, slowly raised her head and subconsciously straightened her back. Yes, I'm not as bad as the other party. Having regained her confidence, Xiao Su's gaze became resolute. The netizens in the live stream were infected, and they began leaving comments to cheer her on. A case of this level was not difficult for Xiang Chan at all. Very quickly, he slayed everyone in the room with a crushing manner. He adjusted his tie with his well-defined fingers and listened coldly to the judge announce the results of the trial. In the end, Xiao Su won the lawsuit. Although she did not receive much compensation, she smiled for the first time in days. Lawyer Xiang, thank you. Xiao Su sniffled and continued. And you, Wan, thank you for helping me so much. Xiao Wan quickly waved her hands and said, No, I didn't do anything. It's all thanks to Lawyer Xiang. Sangchen replied calmly. You're welcome. The three of them left the courthouse and were immediately surrounded by local reporters. Other than a reporter from a legal program, the rest of the reporters were there because of Sangchen's popularity. Reporters from programs such as anti-mediation, matchmaking, and so on all came to join in the fun. Lawyer Xiang, Will you take the path of a public interest lawyer in the future? Mr. Seong, are you interested in joining our dating show? Are you a feminist? What do you think of the sentence, "I'm sorry for being born a woman," on the internet? Sang-chin was expressionless. He had no intention of cooperating with them at all. However, when he heard a certain question, his eyebrows furrowed. Regardless of whether you were born a woman or a man, there's nothing to be sorry about. There's no need to differentiate between men and women in this world, because too many people don't understand the concept of equal rights between men and women. He had a cold aura and his facial features were profound. His speech affected everyone until Chao Won accidentally blurted out, "Ah, Brother Damao is so handsome." Sang-chin's expression gradually stiffened. Chapter 374. Chao Won's eyes gradually widened in horror. "Oh, why don't I think before I speak?" A reporter got the joke and burst into laughter. Smog is Sameo-gu, Hades is Brother Sanmao, Dr. Seong is Brother Ermao, and Lawyer Seong is Brother Damao. It doesn't seem like there's anything wrong with that. The group of people was about to laugh when they saw Sang-chin's cold and handsome face. He raised his eyebrows slightly. "Is it that funny? Everyone. It's not funny at all." The reporters gradually dispersed. After thanking Sang-chin again, Xiao Su got ready to take the subway. Chao Won grabbed her wrist and tried to leave with her, but Xiao Su pried her fingers off one by one. "Sister, take care and come back alive." Chao Won. At the stairs, only Sang-chin and Chao Won were left. Sang-chin sneered. "Brother Damao." Chao Won trembled in fear. This nickname isn't derogatory. Only people who really like Sister E would call you brothers that. The man chuckled coldly and slowly adjusted his sleeves. Chao Won felt a chill down her spine. She felt that Sang-chin was like the villain in a movie at this moment. She had a strong desire to live. "Lawyer Seong, I've snatched Sister Yi's e-magazine." Sang-chin paused in his actions. He was a step too slow when the competition started just now and didn't manage to snatch a single copy. Instead, Chao Won successfully snatched the cover of Xiangyi's B edition with her fast hand speed. "Lawyer Seong, look, this photo of Sister E looks so much like the little princess. This photo of Shi Ingdi hugging her makes her waist look so slender. And this photo of the two of them holding hands. Mother Kers are so satisfied. Oh, this is so untimely." Chao Won scrolled through the photos and explained in real time. However, she felt an inexplicable chill. She looked up and realized that Sang-chin was staring at Shi Sui's hands. His deep eyes narrowed dangerously, and he looked like he wanted to chop off Shi Sui's hands. Chao Won gulped and tried to explain. Actually, a two-person cover is already considered a very small. There were some double covers, some kissing scenes, and some seductive driving poses. In her opinion, the photos of Xiangyi and Shi Sui couldn't even be considered as baby strollers. However, in Xiang Chen's eyes, Shi Sui was already a dead man. In order to ease the suffocating atmosphere, Chao Won dug out a video that was later released by Ms. Magazine. This is edited using behind-the-scenes footage. I heard that it's from the perspective of the vampire Shi Sui. The previous video released by Ms. Magazine was mainly from the perspective of the little princess. This time it was the other way around. She clicked on it and saw that it was still in a retro dark style. The young and handsome vampire was dressed in a gorgeous and exquisite retro suit. He happened to encounter the innocent the little princess in the forest. His nonchalant gaze slowly became extremely aggressive. He wanted to destroy that purity. Then, it was a step-by-step calculation. However, what the vampire didn't expect was, he was the first to fall into her trap. Rather than saying that he led the little princess to fall into his trap, it was more accurate to say that he fell into the sweet trap of the little princess. Just right, it echoed the theme of falling into his trap and deep in his trap. The scene changed to a dim and beautiful castle. The vampire held the back of the little princess's head tightly, and the scene of them kissing was seductive. Unexpectedly, in the next second, the little princess grabbed his tie. Her fair and soft fingers curiously and innocently touched his Adam's apple. Then they moved down bit by bit. The two of them looked at each other. The video stopped abruptly. Chapter 375. Xiao Wan suppressed her excitement and finished watching the video. When the video ended, she shuddered and sobered up all of a sudden. It's over, it's over. Sister Yi's flirting is sweet, but will lawyer Xiang beat his sister up too? Xiao Wan was on tenterhooks when she heard a gritting voice coming from above her head. My tutu has been led astray just like that. Xiao Wan. Huh? Instead of learning from the good, you're learning from the bad. Xiang Chen cracked his fingers and sneered. You're a dog. It was obvious who he was referring to. Xiao Wan suddenly felt that Shi Sui was going to lose his leg. As soon as the Weibo post was posted, the comments section exploded. Oh my god, what kind of amazing editing is this? The little princess has fallen into depravity, but she's also a vampire immortal. Sisters, you like her so much. Damn damn damn. Shi Sui's gaze was so lustful when Sister Yi touched his Adam's apple in the last scene. If it weren't for the fact that they were filming, Shi Sui would have eaten braised tutu. Tutu is so adorable. Wouldn't it be more delicious if she was steamed in hot water? I miss Sister Yi's cold rabbit soup. When can Little Rabbit Farm come out with a similar dish? What kind of magic does Sister Yi have to make you guys change the topic like that? Xiang Yi's flirting was treated as a trump card. And now the trump card had worked. The third and fourth batch of links were still selling like hotcakes. Those who were close to the warehouse where the physical copies of the magazines were distributed quickly received the physical copies. The cover of Morning Star used a photo of Xiang Yi tugging at Shi Sui's necktie. Their gazes met, and there was a clash of provocation and abstinence, as well as a clash of seduction and depravity. The atmosphere was full of storytelling. In the interview, other than the usual questions, there were also the two people's understanding of the story. Xiang Yi. It's a very romantic story. I think both the little princess and the vampire are very lonely. They don't have any good friends, so they are attracted to each other. Although the shooting style uses dark elements, I think the vampire is very gentle. He didn't hurt anyone. Shi Sui. I think Sister Yi is right. It was more like redemption than depravity. On the surface, it was the vampire who had trapped the little princess. In fact, the little princess had also trapped the vampire. However, both parties were willing to do so. The little princess was like a star to him. The fans of the untimely couple were completely intoxicated by it. I don't care, I don't care. I've already replaced Sister Yi with Shi Sui Xingxing. Ha ha ha, I think Sister Yi's understanding is a fairy tale, while Shi Sui's understanding is a love story. I'm different. I can imagine the 100,000 word content that's not allowed to be described on QQ. Sob sob sob, don't spout nonsense. Xiang Yi is still a child. What if she sees this? By 7 o'clock in the evening, MS's Weibo post had been reposted more than 100,000 times and liked hundreds of thousands of times. In a sense, untimely couple had really stepped out of the entertainment circle and entered the public eye. The number of fans who were in favor of the couple also increased rapidly. Just as everyone was in harmony, a certain marketing account released a video titled, Interview with Xiang Yi's ex-fiancé. Countless people were puzzled. After clicking on it, they realized that the main character of the video was a greasy man in his 30s. Xiang Yi is a big star now. She's the one. Ha ha ha, she was the one who chased me back then and insisted on eloping with me. Chapter 376. Ah, of course I didn't get together with her. How could I possibly fancy a woman like her? The man in the video had facial features that could barely be considered handsome, but his words were disrespectful to women, and he would often talk about life principles. He even bragged about how big his internet celebrity company was. It was a vivid interpretation of a phrase. He was old and cunning. Spicy Tutu, Xiangyi's fans, who had just seen the video, were enraged. Sister E eloped with you. Dream on. This man. I'm so embarrassed that I've dug my toes out of 3 rooms and a living room. Spreading rumors requires a lot of effort, but refuting them requires a lot of effort. There must be a bottom line even when it comes to creating hype, okay? However, the male lead of the video had probably tasted the sweetness brought about by the popularity of the video, as he soon released a second video. At that time we had already met each other's parents. Of course I didn't fancy her. But she pestered me too much and insisted that I marry her, but her family didn't agree. In order to see me, she even climbed over the wall at home. Oh yes, for my sake, she even made her grandmother faint from anger and sent her grandfather to the hospital. There's nothing I can do about it, I'm just the kind of person that young girls like. The man continued to expose the video. This time he was obviously much more experienced. Behind him was the logo of his internet celebrity company. As he spoke, he showed everyone the chat history between him and Xiangyi. Just as he said, the Xiangyi in the chat history showed a strong desire to get married, and frantically expressed her love for the man. She even said that she was willing to bear his children after marriage and be a full-time housewife. The strong contrast made the netizens dumbfounded. This was simply a case of a goddess becoming a bootlicker. The old fans tried their best to explain that this must have happened during the period of amnesia. However, many fans who had just fallen into the trap expressed that they couldn't accept such a side of Xiangyi. There were even several famous bloggers with millions of fans who posted condemnation. The value of a woman definitely doesn't revolve around cooking in the kitchen, let alone being a fertility machine. At Xiangyi, I hate your persona and despise your worldview. I'm so angry. It's precisely because there are women like Xiangyi that men look down on women. How many seniors have spent countless efforts to tear off the labels on women? Now you are putting labels on women one by one and putting shackles on them. Filial piety is the most important of all virtues, and Xiangyi is a real, unfilial daughter. Filial piety is a traditional virtue in our country. If celebrities can't do it, then wouldn't they be setting an example for their fans to be unfilial? I call for a boycott of Xiangyi. Boycott, 2 under 1 roof. Qin Wanyan spent a large sum of money to bribe those bloggers. When she saw countless netizens scolding Xiangyi, she instantly felt that her money was well spent. As for the man who broke the news, she was the one who first found a gossip media outlet and claimed that Xiangyi was not as innocent and naive as the netizens thought. On the contrary, she had a dark history of eloping. That gossip media outlet was like a fly that had smelled rotten meat as they found the informant. Coincidentally, the informant also wanted to ride on the hype. Hence, both parties hit it off and came up with a huge piece of news. Brother Exin, do you have Xiangyi's contact number? We can record a conversation between you and her. It'll definitely go viral. The person in charge of the gossip media outlet suggested. With a look of guilt in his eyes, Exin said stubbornly. Her number has already been changed. What about her family? How many brothers or grandparents? I'm taking a leave of absence. I'll make up for it tomorrow. Good night equals W smiley face. Chapter 377. Exin said vaguely. Her brothers are all very busy. Even if I call them, they might not answer me. In fact, he didn't even have the contact information of Sangchen and the others. There was actually nothing between Xinu and Xiangyi. At that time, Xiangyi was just eager to get rid of the Xiang family. After all, he was a man in his 30s and she couldn't hide her intentions from him at all. Besides, it wasn't that he didn't fancy Xiangyi, but rather the Xiang family didn't fancy him at all. However, Xinyu felt that it wouldn't be a big deal to make use of some dramatic plots. Anyway, the hype would bring about popularity. In just a short while, there were plenty of small internet celebrities who wanted to sign a contract with his company. What about Xiangyi's grandparents? They're doing a live broadcast. If you call them, the popularity will definitely be explosive. The person in charge of the gossip media said. They were not philanthropists. They were taking such a huge risk to expose the news for the sake of money. As for Xinyu's life, it was not within their scope of concern. Think about it. If your company becomes the top in the industry and produces an online celebrity, you'll be more impressive than an entertainment star. As Xinyu listened, he was tempted. I have her grandfather's number, but I can't guarantee that he will pick up. The person in charge was overjoyed. It's okay. If he picks up, we'll write about it. If he doesn't, we'll write about it too. If he doesn't pick up, I'll write something like Xiangyi's grandfather treats his granddaughter like dirt, abandons her like an old shoe, and doesn't care about her marriage at all. Xinyu said, Okay then. A few minutes later, in the gazebo of the manor, Xiang Yin's cell phone rang. Good luck to you, good luck to you, good luck brings joy and love. The down-to-earth ringtone made the staff at the scene burst into laughter. In particular, Li Jianyu's goose-like laughter was very charming, causing the netizens in the live stream to criticize him. Xiang Yin's ringtone is so cute. Son, others are singing, but you're laughing. Director, you don't laugh at my variety show, huh? I'll lead the way. Xiang Yin looked at the number on the screen. Although he was old, he had a photographic memory. He sneered and hung up the phone. Although Xiang Yin had a bad temper, he wouldn't hang up on others so rudely. Xiang Yi asked curiously, Grandpa, what's the matter? Xiang Yin said, It's all because of that piece of dog skin rash that you provoked. Xiang Yi. Question mark. Madame Xiang frowned and asked, Xinyu? Who else could it be other than him? Upon hearing this unfamiliar name, Xiang Yi, who was biting the tutu candy, was dumbfounded. Li Jianyu explained tactfully, Sister E is a man who claims to be your ex-fiancé. He's live streaming right now and he's calling your grandfather. It was obvious that he was trying to ride on her popularity. Two Under One Roof was currently a live broadcast program with a stable viewership of more than a few million people. It was extremely influential. Xinyu's move was too disgusting. He was obviously trying to ride on the popularity of Xiang Yi and the show. While they were talking, Xinyu called again. Xiang Yin was furious. Why did you block his number? After pondering for a moment, Madame Xiang said, Give me your cell phone. Xiang Yi's grandfather was puzzled, but out of the habit of loving his wife for many years, his hand reacted before his brain could as he handed the phone to her. Old Mrs. Xiang pressed the answer button and said gracefully and composedly, Mr. Xin, what can I do for you? Chapter 378. On the other end of the line, Xinyu didn't expect someone to pick up at all. He was flustered for a few seconds before pretending to be familiar with her. Hello, Grandma, I'm Xinyu. How have you and Grandpa been lately? Xiang Yin flew into a rage. This shameless bastard, how dare he mention that? If it weren't for him, would old Mrs. Xiang have fainted from anger? However, the netizens felt that this ex-fiancé was quite polite. Hence, there were even more comments directed at Xiang Yi. Many people's jealousy could be felt through the screen. To be honest, this middle-aged man is good-looking, has a successful career, and is polite too. He's more than enough to be a good match for Vase Fairy. In my opinion, with his qualities, he can get any woman he wants. Xiang Yi is just an actress. How can she have the cheek to be picky? Tiske, she has such high standards. I think she's just a scheming woman who looks harmless on the surface. If she wasn't picky, how could she be a couple with Shui now? Madame Xiang said calmly, Your grandpa and I are doing well. Xinyu, how about you? Are your legs okay? On the other end of the line, Xinyu choked. His dark history from back then surfaced uncontrollably. He had indeed been to the Xiong family home before. Although he knew that Xiangyi had ulterior motives, he still harbored evil intentions and tried to make things happen. Unfortunately, as soon as he locked the door, it was kicked open. Coincidentally, it was the day of the Xiong family's family gathering and Xiangyi's four brothers were all there. Hence, Xinyu was later hospitalized for 3 months. Having been hit where it hurt, Xinyu said in a stiff tone with a trace of awkwardness on his face, "Grandma, I actually have something to say to Xiangyi. I wonder if you can give me her contact number." The person in charge of the tabloid media had taught him that if Madame Xiong refused, he would ask if it was because he was afraid that Xiangyi still had feelings for him. When the time came, he would definitely make the headlines. To his surprise, Madame Xiong said leisurely, "If you have something to say it in person." Xianyu was stunned. "I'll send you the address. That's all for now." Madame Xiong's attitude was gentle but firm. Then she hung up the phone. Everyone was dumbfounded. Only Madame Xiong seemed to be the most independent and clear-headed person. Her smile was kind, but her words were poisonous. Since he wants to broadcast live, let's satisfy him. Instead of blocking his mouth, let's listen to what he has to say. Netizens. ? Sameo Guz, your parents have gone to heaven. Was probably inherited from you, Grandma. Xiangyi nodded in agreement. Grandma, what you said makes sense. Madame Xiong gently rubbed her granddaughter's face. Don't be afraid. Grandpa and Grandma will protect our good tutu. Xiang Yin was just about to show off his crutches when he heard Madame Xiong say, "Old man, bring me my whip." Li Jianyu got a great shock and hurriedly persuaded, "Grandma, we're still in the middle of a live stream, we can't have any violent or bloody scenes." Madame Xiong smiled and said, "Why would I? I'm teaching my good tutu how to hit a spinning top." The netizens were dumbfounded. Isn't there something wrong with this? Xinyu initially refused to go to the manor. After all, he was worried about his leg. However, under the instigation of the tabloid media, he still made up his mind to go. When he arrived at the manor, the scene in front of him made him dumbfounded. The gray-haired old Mrs. Xiong forcefully whipped the spinning top, creating a thunderous sound in the air. Xinyu's legs immediately turned to jelly. Chapter 379. However, Madame Xiong even took the opportunity to explain to everyone elegantly while whipping the whip. Spinning top is an ancient and traditional game. It's a good way to exercise for the elderly. The harder you hit the whip, the faster the spinning top. Glancing at Xinyu, who had rushed over, Madame Xiong said smilingly, "There's another saying among the people, it's called whipping the wretched." Xinyu shuddered. The netizens were appalled. Spinning top. Why did you hit me? Grieved. JPG. I suspect that Madame Xiong is hinting at Xinyu. That's probably an elegant and vicious tongue. Is Xinyu trembling? No way, right? Is he that cowardly? Ha, damned old woman, you're taking advantage of your seniority. It's your granddaughter's blessing that he fancies her. If you're sick, get it treated. Our sister E is loved by all. There are plenty of puppies and puppies who adore her. Who cares about such a greasy old man? Sure sway, old man. Thank you, I'm offended. In the live stream, some people were making jokes, some were arguing, and some were being silly. The number of viewers skyrocketed, and the pop-up comments were also increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. The entire screen was densely filled. How is it? Have you learned it? Madame Xiong looked at Xiangyi. The girl said with uncertainty, "Shall I try?" Madame Xiong then handed the whip to her. Xiangyi moved her wrist and tried to swing it twice to get a feel for it. He didn't know what material Madame Xiong's whip was made of. Just by swinging it in the air, the whip cut through the air with a crackling sound. With a whip of the spinning top, the movement was doubled. Xinyu was speechless. He suspected that he would die on the spot if the whip were to land on him. Exenu put on a fake smile and took the initiative to greet. "Hello, Grandpa and Grandma." He even nodded at the crew of the program and said, "Hello everyone, you've worked hard." He had specially changed into a silver-gray suit and combed his hair back, making him look rather handsome. Hearing this, Seong-yi turned her little face to look at him. The girl's skin was so white that it seemed to glow. After taking care of her body for a while, she had become slightly rounder. Her face looked full of collagen, and her nearsightedness had also improved. She could be said to be beautiful and charming. The most amazing thing about her was her calm and gentle temperament. It was as if no matter how noisy her surroundings were, it would not affect her. Exenu's heart began to itch. He felt that Seong-yi was even more beautiful than before. If she continued to pester him, he might agree to go out with her. At most, he would just kick her away when he got tired of sleeping with her. Just as this thought flashed through his mind, a cold gaze suddenly locked onto him. When he met Sui's dark and dangerous gaze, Exenu broke out in cold sweat and didn't dare to look at her again. "Mr. Exin," Seong-yi said faintly. Hearing her clear voice, Exenu refused to give up and leaned forward greedily. "Seong-yi, long time no see, did you miss me?" Seong-yi took a step back without a trace and distanced herself from him. "I heard that you have something to say to me." When he got closer, he seemed to be able to smell the faint fragrance of her hair. Exenu took a sniff greedily and said, "It's not impossible for me to marry you, but I have a condition." Seong-yi was confused. Although she had many questions in her heart, she still maintained her social etiquette. "Sorry, I lost my memory previously and it might have caused some misunderstandings." "Drop the act." Exenu was full of confidence. "You'd better think it through. If you miss this opportunity, you won't get another one." Chapter 380. Seong-yi frowned slightly. She had never had the habit of interrupting others. Hence, even though she felt that Exenu's words were illogical, she still chose to listen to him patiently. Exenu said, "Didn't you agree to elope with me back then? I think girls should respect themselves. If you can get the consent of your family, I can consider dating you." Seong-in had been tolerating it for a long time, but when he heard this, he couldn't help but holler, "Dream on! Don't even think about marrying into our family." Exenu said shamelessly, "I'm here now. Grandpa, didn't you say that you haven't forgiven Seong-yi? I'm the cause of all this. I'm here to help you solve the problem out of kindness." Seong-yin's face turned sullen. How could he really hold it against Tutu? However, he kept those words to himself and couldn't bring himself to say it in public. Due to Seong-yin's arrogant character and sudden silence, the netizens naturally got the wrong idea. "I think Exenu's words make sense. Exenu isn't that bad, right? Why do you guys always think badly of him? He's obviously a PUA. He's belittling girls in order to gain control. He's so disgusting. Get lost, ugly man, stay away from Seong-yi. Why does Seong-yi have to bear the responsibility for the mistakes she made when she had amnesia?" Cry. Seong-yi was rather calm. "I don't have any plans to get married, nor do I have any memories of you, Mr. Exen. I don't think our lives will intersect again." Exenu looked at Seong-yi, who seemed to be trying to distance herself from him, and immediately panicked. "How can you go back on your word?" Seemingly feeling that his words were too childish, he resorted to his best means. "But you're such a filthy woman. Who else would want you except me?" Not only was he dissing her verbally, he even glanced at Zhong-yi and Zhongjong. Zhong-yi's face turned pale and she shielded Zhongjong behind her. He was well aware of the importance of reputation to a girl. This was because he knew that public opinion was always biased towards men. For example, if someone got pregnant before marriage, everyone would scold the woman. It was as if the man had no responsibility at all. Now that he said this, He was deliberately leading the crowd to believe that Xiangyi was no longer clean. Xiangyin flew into a rage. Nonsense. You're talking nonsense. He was so angry that he picked up his walking stick and wanted to break this dog's leg. Xinyu hurriedly retreated and said, I've already said what I wanted to say. Xiangyi, I'll give you 5 minutes to consider. No need. The resolute words came from Madame Xiang. Her expression was calm and her dress was elegant. Whether it's our tutu or other girls, they all live for themselves, not for others to see. And your slander, in my opinion, is childish and laughable. People who don't know the truth will attack a girl because of her so-called reputation, but as her family, we will never hurt her. Don't you agree, old man? Madame Xiang looked at Xiang Yin with a smile in her eyes. Xiang Yin seemed to have been encouraged, and the advantage of his loud voice was obvious at this moment. Bunny is our family's little darling. No one is allowed to hurt her. What do you mean by forgiving? I've never blamed her at all. Not even for a second. Chapter 381. Old Mr. Xiang was full of energy and his voice was loud and firm. Every word he said was powerful and resonant. Zhong Yi, who was not far away, watched everything in shock. She was really envious of Xiangyi. Back then, when her family found out that she was pregnant with Zhang Jiang, their first reaction was to chase her out of the house for fear that she would ruin their reputation. However, they also asked her to give her parents and brother a considerable amount of living expenses every month on the grounds that it was her duty to do so. On the other hand, Xiangyi's family protected and supported her unconditionally. Even Xiang Yin, who was so arrogant and awkward, would make tutu candies for her. He would even give up his pride and protect her without hesitation. Xinyu still wanted to play the same trick again. Then no one wants her. Shut up. So what if no one wants her? It's not like our family can't afford to raise her. Xiang Yin retorted. Xiang Yi's heart was filled with emotions. She pinched her palms to calm her surging emotions. It turns out that Grandpa has never blamed me. Madame Xiang was much more sharp-tongued. Is the standard to judge a girl by what you call, no one wants her? Come on, the Qing dynasty died a long time ago and arranged marriages have long ended. Even an old woman like me knows that marriage is free in the new era. Don't tell me you don't even know that. Pretending to be surprised, old Mrs. Xiang covered her mouth and said, Are you a fool? Or did your parents leave early? Xinyu's face immediately turned as red as a pig's liver. In the live stream, the spicy tutu fans were overjoyed. Grandpa Xiang and Grandma Zhu and dote on Sister Yi so much. Your parents left early equals you're an orphan. Thank you for Grandma's online lessons. Grandma's combat power is definitely on the SSR level. Xinyu is at most an R card. Xinyu's gaze was erratic. He didn't expect Xiang Yin and Madame Xiang to be so difficult to deal with. They had clearly been hurt by Xiangyi at that time. So why did they still choose not to hold it against her? That was beyond Xinyu's understanding. Since he couldn't persuade his family, Xinyu wanted to continue pressuring Xiangyi. Didn't she want to break away from the Xiang family? Without him, how could she have succeeded? At the thought of this, Xinyu suddenly regained his confidence. He looked at Xiangyi affectionately and said, Actually, I don't look down on you that much. You do have some merits. Look, only he could see the good in Xiangyi. This method of belittling first and then praising later could be said to have worked well in the past. Young and naive girls like Xiangyi were the easiest to fool. The next second, Xiangyi flicked the whip expressionlessly, scaring Xinyu so much that he shrieked and almost jumped up. Excuse me, you're blocking my spinning top. Xinyu. The netizens were speechless. Everyone's attention then shifted to the whip in her hand. They shuddered at the same time. In the cold atmosphere, a low chuckle sounded. Sue's heart felt as if it had been brushed by a feather. Sister E, could you teach me? Shi Sui, who had been a bystander for a long time, opened her mouth slowly. Sure. After Xiangyi taught him a few words, Shi Sui took the whip. He had a high level of comprehension and was the type who could understand with just a little bit of guidance. After a few casual lashes, the spinning top spun even faster. The atmosphere in the live stream changed abruptly. The sense of immersion is too strong. I feel like Shi Sui is a villain who will resort to domestic violence. Other people who wield whips are men who harness horses. Why is this man so and so handsome? Chapter 382. Xianyu was speechless. He somehow felt that this man was treating him like a spinning top, in particular. His gaze seemed gentle but actually contained a strong sense of oppression. His scalp turned numb as he slandered Xiangyi. You'd better stay away from such a woman. She can elope with anyone she wants. Is that so? Shi Sui chuckled, as if the scenery around her had come alive. Is there such a good thing? Xianyu was dumbfounded. There was an uproar in the live stream. Official announcement. Thank you for the help, buddy. You can get your bento box now. Aw, don't laugh like that, who can stand it? Attacking and belittling women is not a gentleman's behavior. Doesn't make you look noble. Shi Sui said unhurriedly. If you can't even show respect, I'm very suspicious of your real purpose for coming here to look for Sister E. There were some things that everyone was well aware of, but they just didn't say it out loud. Shi Sui, on the other hand, exposed Xianyu's ugly and dirty thoughts. Xianyu was immediately embarrassed. I came to look for her because she said that she wanted to marry me and even pestered me. So? Do you like her? Of course not, but after all, she's been pestering me. Xianyu began to spout nonsense under Shi Sui's intimidating aura. Shi Sui nodded slightly with a clear expression. Mr. Xian, you're really contradicting yourself. On one hand, you belittle Sister E and keep saying that you don't fancy her. But on the other hand, you're pestering Sister E like a dogskin plaster and insisting on marrying her despite her wishes. I think I can use one word to describe your behavior. After a pause, he turned to look at the camera and tilted his head slightly. If I say it out loud, our live stream will probably be banned. His fair and slender fingers gently pressed against his lips. Shoo. A large group of viewers in front of the screen were stunned. Shocking. Shi Sui actually knows how to act cute. Okay, don't talk. Otherwise, I'm going to remember your name. Ha 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 ha, Shi Sui is so mean. Others don't hit people in the face, but he's hitting people in the face. Xianyu was rebuked until he was like a mute, unable to say anything for a long time. At this point, the audience was not stupid. They could tell that he had ulterior motives. However, there were still people who used Xiangyi as an excuse to scold her. Shi Sui seemed to have guessed the public opinion on the internet. He leaned lazily against the pillar of the pavilion with his long legs slightly bent. Xiangyi doesn't even fancy me. Why would he fancy you? Everyone. Come on, you're the best actor. Can't you have a bit of a burden? How can you be so self-deprecating? Even the haters aren't as good as you. Xiangyin, who had always found Shi Sui to be an eyesore, suddenly felt that this rascal. It was all right. He snorted. What's there to compare that dog with you? Comparing the two of you is simply a scammer. Xianyu was speechless. It's a knowing blow. Xiangyi's grandmother said smilingly, Mr. Xian, don't feel inferior. You're still better than Shi Sui in one aspect. You may be ugly, but you're thick-skinned. Xianyu was speechless. Doubles. At this moment, Xiao Naofu, who had been missing for a long time, finally returned. It was holding a fat rat in its mouth and nimbly jumped to Xianyu's feet before throwing it onto his shoes. Xianyu exclaimed, "Oh, rat! There's a rat!" He was so frightened that he completely lost his composure, as if he was a ridiculous clown. The crowd burst into laughter. Anger rose in Xinyu's heart and he kicked at Xiao Naofu. However, a creamy yellow figure at the side pushed Xiao Naofu away. Before Xinyu's foot could even touch a few strands of its fur, little Shiji rolled on the ground and went far away. It hummed feebly and aggrievedly. Woof. Xinyu's eyes widened in shock. Scammer. This is what you call scammer. Why are dogs pretending to be White Lotus these days? Chapter 383. In the eyes of the netizens, little Shiji was trying to protect Xiao Naofu, but in the end, Xiao Naofu kicked him hard. Dog lovers are condemning him. Damn it, this ugly man is so vicious. It's just an innocent and pitiful dog. Pitiful, pitiful. Someone said that Xiao Naofu was in the wrong and was immediately rebuked. It's only right for cats to catch mice. Isn't it because Xanu is so outrageous that even Xiao Naofu can't stand it and teach him a lesson on behalf of Sister E? I don't care, Xiao Naofu is the cutest in the world. I won't allow anyone in this world to dislike it. Xiangyi hurriedly went to check on little Shiji's injuries, while little Shiji continued to put on an act and rubbed its head against her calf. Even Xiao Naofu was fooled and scurried over with its short legs. Meow meow. Stray dog, what's wrong with you? Little Shiji barked. Woof woof. Xiao Naofu didn't know how to speak dog language, but it felt as if little Shiji was saying, "My wound hurts so much." After hesitating for a few seconds, it condescended and licked little Shiji's fur while swallowing the humiliation. Ah meow. It won't hurt anymore if you lick it. The heartwarming scene made one feel even more distressed and infuriated. Xenu would never have thought that using public opinion to manipulate the emotions of netizens would result in a backlash that came too easily. Tell him to get lost. Tell him to get lost. I'm begging you to whip him. Whip him like a spinning top. My heart aches for little Shiji. Xiao Naofu must be blaming itself too. U1S1 Xiao Naofu is so nice. Xiao Naofu has taken the initiative to lick little Shiji's fur. In the animal world, that's a sign of goodwill and affection. Xiangyi looked up with an icy cold gaze. When he met her gaze, Xinyu's heart trembled as he felt that the Xiangyi in front of him was extremely unfamiliar. She had changed from a vain and pompous girl who had her thoughts written all over her face to an existence that he dared not look at. I didn't kick it on purpose. Xinyu broke out in cold sweat and continued. Besides, it's just a beast. So what if I kicked it? How can a beast compare to a human? Xiangyi nodded. You're right. Xinyu heaved a sigh of relief. Seems like this woman still cares about me. In the next second, Xiangyi said indifferently. You're a human? Xinu. The live stream. Even the staff at the scene were dumbfounded. *CK, so Sister E knows how to insult people too. Sure Sui answered lazily. Calling him a beast seems to be an insult to the word beast. Xiangyi sneered. Is he worthy? The two of them sang the same tune and cooperated seamlessly. The lethality of their attacks was off the charts. Xinyu's face was extremely sullen, but he didn't know how to refute. You're human. You've added more insults to your vocabulary. Sure Sui and Sister E have such great chemistry. They're like parents protecting their children. Turns out Sister E has a temper too. She's so adorable when she's so fierce. I want to rub her. Mr. Xine, take care. I won't see you off. Madame Xiang adjusted her shawl gracefully. Xinyu bluffed. Xiangyi, I'm leaving. Don't regret it. Xiangyi rubbed the back of little Shiji's neck, got up and walked towards him step by step. Xinu was nervous and expectant as his heart pounded rapidly. That beautiful and fair face was getting closer and closer to him. Whoosh! Xiangyi grabbed his collar and lifted him up with one hand while Xinu's feet were suspended in the air with a horrified expression. She raised her eyebrows gently, seemingly giving him a gift. Get. Chapter 384. There was a few seconds of silence in the live stream before the pop-up comments flooded the screen. Picking up a grown man with one hand. Ah, I was wrong, I shouldn't have called her sister. Sister, are you a sniper? I'm sorry, I've betrayed you. Why is it inappropriate? From now on, I'm your loyal fan. Xenu was scared out of his wits, and in a moment of desperation, he turned to Madame Xiang, who seemed to be the easiest to talk to. Grandma, take care of your granddaughter. She's not behaving like a girl at all. Madame Xiang blinked and asked, Old man, did you see anything? Xiang Yin answered calmly, I'm old and my eyesight is poor. I didn't see anything. Shi Sui even applauded and exclaimed, Wow, Sister Yi is so impressive. Zhong Yi didn't say anything and simply covered Zhang's eyes calmly. Xianyu was dumbfounded. What kind of people is this family? Xiang Yi carried him a few meters away with a straight face before throwing him out and slamming the small wooden door of the garden that led to the manor. Don't bother me again. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. Xiang Yi had always been a good-tempered person, but that didn't mean that she didn't have a temper. Xenu was so frightened that he peed his pants and stumbled out. The photographer, old Zhang, even gave him a close-up shot and recorded his disheveled back view. The spicy tutu girls felt extremely relieved. That's the right way to treat scumbags. Reason is for humans, scumbags don't count as humans. There's no need to reason with them. Xiang Yi took a deep breath, calmed herself down, and carried little Shiji back to the living room. Xiao Naofu's footsteps were light, and it carried little Shiji's kennel into its luxurious cat mansion before her. Meow. Meow meow. Stinky dog, I'm not being nice to you. It's just... the mansion is too big. I'm just letting you have a little space. Xiang Yi's eyes were filled with warmth. Xiao Naofu, you've grown up. Xiao Naofu looked away, feeling a little embarrassed. After placing little Shiji in the kennel, she raised her hand and stroked the dog for a while. Xiao Naofu suddenly became envious again. It aggrievedly snuggled up to Xiang Yi's hand and rubbed itself against her like a spoiled little kitten. Meow. You're not allowed to touch the dog. You can only touch this hoo-hoo. You are really a little troublemaker. Xiang Yi's tone was helpless and doting, but she gave Xiao Naofu a full massage. Rubbing the back of its neck and pinching its ears, the kitten soon couldn't take it anymore. It was so comfortable that it relaxed. It took the initiative to approach Xiang Yi, wanting to kiss her. Xiang Yi remembered its heroic posture of catching the mouse just now and was very moved. Then she covered its mouth. Cough, you can only kiss after brushing your teeth. Xiao Naofu instantly showed a heartbroken expression. Meow meow meow. This damned stupid woman actually dared to despise this handsome hoo-hoo. The netizens in the live stream were dying of laughter. Xiao Naofu, it was a mistake after all. Shi Sui. This is a lesson, remember it. You can only kiss after brushing your teeth. Under Xiao Naofu's heartless gaze, Xiang Yi's heart softened again. She coaxed softly. Shall we kiss on the forehead then? Humph. It humphed in a childish voice. Xiang Yi leaned forward, her hair cascading down, and her cherry-colored lips pouted slightly. There was a soft pop sound, but it didn't land on the kitten's forehead. Instead, it landed on the back of the man's fair and slender hand. It was Shi Sui, who had placed her hand between Xiao Naofu and her lips. The netizens were flabbergasted. Shi Sui is the most shameless of the family of four. Chapter 385. He did it with his own hands. That means he kissed her on the lips. Hey, aren't you going a little overboard by rounding things off? Ha ha ha, Xiao Naofu's expression is so funny, cat. JPG. Even Xiang Yi was dumbfounded, let alone the netizens. The calmest person was none other than Shi Sui. Shi Sui's long and narrow eyes curved in joy, but he said righteously, Sister Yi, you're taking advantage of Xiao Naofu so openly. It won't be able to find a girlfriend. Xiang Yi. Xiao Naofu. The netizens. Li Jianyu's mouth twitched. Daddy, sure, although Xiao Naofu and little Shiji are not humans, you're a dog. Ruan Qing's eyes were full of smiles, as if she had seen through something. Xiangyi took a few seconds to react. She retreated slightly and put some distance between her lips and the back of his hand. She asked softly, "What are you going to do then?" Shi Sui chuckled and asked, "Why? Are you disgusted with me?" I'm not, don't spout nonsense." Shi Sui began to sigh and said, "Actually, I think what that man said just now makes sense. No one will want an unclean boy." Xiangyi panicked and exclaimed, "No! Don't listen to his nonsense. Don't take the words of annoying people to heart. You're not an unwanted kid." Shi Sui pinched her face and teased, "I'm 7 years older than you, how dare you call me a kid?" Xiangyi said, "Big friend." The interaction between the two made countless netizens smile in front of their screens. I'm shedding tears of envy. Lonely, 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 lonely. I have a feeling that Shi Sui's subtext is, if I'm unclean, you have to be responsible for me. Xiang Yi, you're such a silly child. This dog of a man is tricking you. Why are you so silly and sweet in front of him? Xiao Naofu meowed angrily. It wanted to scratch Shi Sui, but it was afraid of being taken away for sterilization, so it could only bark at him a few times. Little Shiji's black eyes were moist as he curled his tail around Xiao Naofu's and pulled the little kitten into his arms. Fortunately, the kennel was big enough and the kitten was small, so it was not crowded when they slept together. Xiao Naofu was both aggrieved and angry, its little paws pounding on the soft kennel. Little Shiji licked its fur patiently, not annoyed even after being kicked by Xiao Naofu. Only then did Xiang Yi realize that their conversation was slightly ambiguous, and the atmosphere was strange. She looked at the clock on the wall and coughed. It's 8 o'clock. Why don't we watch TV? Shi Sui always listened to her. The netizens in the live stream room were speechless. Forget about the previous hashtag I'm watching a live stream hashtag, but now hashtag I'm watching a variety show hashtag? Xiangyi went to turn on the TV while her grandparents, Zhong Yi and Zheng Zheng, came over one after another. The opening was a cartoon version of Xiangyi and Shi Sui planting flowers and vegetables, fishing and catching pigs. Zheng Zheng watched with rapt attention. Wow! The production team was stunned for a while before realizing that Xiangyi's unintentional actions were actually good publicity. Their live stream had such high traffic, it would be a waste not to use it. Hence, Li Jianyu frantically began to advertise in the voiceover. Dear viewers, please stay tuned to Nanqing Satellite TV's 2 Under One Roof. Those who have a TV, please support the broadcast. Those who don't, please download Nanqing TV. While he was speaking, the show began. Although countless netizens were teasing Li Jianyu, they still switched on the TV and downloaded the software. The production team of Eating Well for All 3 Meals almost fainted from anger when they found out about this. Chapter 386. Why didn't we think of such a simple, effective, and direct publicity method? In the group chat of Muyao TV, the director sent a voice message and flew into a rage. Are you all idiots? How can you not think of this? The others were complaining incessantly. Before Ruan Qing left, she had actually done the work of several people on her own, and her completion rate was particularly high. As soon as she left, it was no exaggeration to say that the planning department and the publicity department were half paralyzed. They were leaderless and their work efficiency was extremely low. Only now did they begin to regret it. How great would it be if Ruan Qing hadn't left? Wouldn't I have pushed all the work to her? Wouldn't I have been the scapegoat? On the other hand, Xiangyi began to get restless after watching the introduction. She hadn't watched much of 2 Under One Roof, but now it seemed that she didn't have a good sense of camera angles in the first episode. She looked like she wasn't very smart. Why don't we change the channel? Xiangyi said seriously. Let's watch the news and find out about national affairs. Madame Xiang exclaimed. This is so interesting. Our dear Tutu is on TV. She's so impressive. I'm going to post this on my WeChat moments. Xiang Yin said. Listen to your grandma. Xiang Yi said. B. The netizens were appalled. Ha ha ha, large-scale public execution. Sister E, did you grow up eating cuteness? Turns out grandma is the person with the highest status in the family. The first episode was edited by Li Jianyu himself, and the title was, The Most Valuable Thing in Life is Friends. There were two main plots, one of which was between Shi Sui and Director Yan. Director Yan was both Shi Sui's talent scout and a good friend of Shi Sui's. When old friends reunited, this plot was heartwarming. When they talked about the past, there were also plenty of old songs that could make the audience think of their good friends in a comfortable atmosphere. The other plot was between Xiang Yi and Yan Nai. At first, Yan Nai was hostile towards Xiang Yi, but soon, he vividly displayed what it meant to be sweet. This plot was a lot more interesting. The scene where Xiang Yi reconciled with the father and son was also very contagious. Although it was about daily life, the pace of the editing was very tight. After an hour and a half, it made people feel that it was not enough. This variety show was too interesting. What? The second episode will only be broadcasted next week. Many people beat their chests and stamped their feet. In the end, they found out that this was actually a live broadcast program. In an instant, many new viewers who had been attracted by television flooded into the live broadcast room. The director's room was filled with all sorts of equipment and instruments. Li Jianyu and the others refreshed the online version's views. 160 million. The production team. Exclamation point. It exploded. This was an explosive number. Soon Ruan Qing went out to answer a call. When she returned, she said calmly, "The viewership ratings are out." "How much?" Li Jianyu was the first to ask. He grabbed his hair again. Don't tell me. I don't dare to listen. Although the online version's numbers were good, if the viewership ratings were too low, he would still feel frustrated. Ruan Qing smiled. It is indeed an unbelievable number. I'm not listening. Ruan Qing ignored him and said to the crowd, "The average viewership rating is 2.18 and the highest is 2.46. All of a sudden, there were cheers in the small room. At the same time, Muyao TV had also received the news. The viewership ratings for the premiere of Eating Well for All 3 Meals yesterday were the highest at 1.8, but later on the average viewership ratings dropped to about 1.6. Meanwhile, the viewership ratings for Two Under One Roof had exceeded 2. This was like rubbing them against the ground. You're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.